people. My name is Destiny Porter. I go by the Empress Dee, and I'm going live today on behalf of the Purposely Awakened magazine. Let me tell you guys, I am so excited today because we have Miss Mahisha Dellinger. Oh my gosh, she is so amazing. She is the founder of the Curls Hair Care product line, and we're going to be talking to her today. So let me tell you guys, please stay tuned. Okay, we actually have her on the line right now. So let's get into this interview. And we are just waiting for her to get connected.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Mahisha. How are you?
Ew.
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you so much. My name is Destiny Porter, and I am calling on behalf of the Purposely Awakened magazine. How are you feeling today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. I'm just so excited to be talking to you. I'm sure that it's so easy for people to just get speechless in your presence because you are so amazing.
No, ma'am.
Can you please? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. I,
No.
I am so approachable. You know, as you see, I'm home in my cashmere with my cashmere sweater on right now talking to you. I'm not all dressed up. I'm not foo-foo. I'm just a regular person that happens to be passionate about business. That's all.
Absolutely, absolutely. So can you please tell our viewers what it is that you do? I would try to recite everything, but I don't want to miss anything.
Sure. So I'm the founder of Curls Beauty Brands.
Mhm.
I am the founder of Black Girls Making Millions Academy, creating millionaires one Black girl at a time. I'm the founder of a nonprofit, Curls Girls Rule the World, where I connect young girls to mentors for life to get them to and through success. I am a mother of four. I'm a wife. I'm a lot of things. I have a few other businesses coming up. Let me just grab my juice.
Yes,
Is that I'm in the midst of actually launching as well. So, entrepreneur, hardworking woman
yes.
came from the projects and made it to the penthouse against all
Mhm.
odds.
Absolutely. And it's so funny that you said that because I was just about to talk about your book. So I wanted to just get right into it. So you do have your book Against All Odds from the project to the penthouse, where you talk about coming from Sacramento, California. What are some of the challenges that you had encountered during that time, and how did you deal with those tribulations?
Well, I think number one, the generational cycle of poverty was horrific. It just never ended. The death, the destruction, the gang banging, the drive-bys, the crack
Mm.
addiction. You know, we were in Meadowview, aka Danger Island, is what it was dubbed, the name, during the height of, I grew up during the height of the crack epidemic. So my brother got caught up in selling crack on the street corners, got arrested a lot of times, got caught up in the Meadowview Bloods, had our house shut up multiple times because he was a Meadowview Blood. And Crips came looking for my brother. Right down the street, his best friends, KK and Jamal, were also in the Meadowview Blood gang. And
Mm-hmm.
Crips came to their house looking for their brothers, barged in and shot and killed their mother. Again, that's right down the street. So what I'm seeing, and fathers were not present. Most people didn't make it to most of my friends were pregnant by 15, and most of their brothers didn't make it to see 18. A lot of people just didn't have a way out. It was despair. It was not a place people had dreams, you know. So it was. I'm proud to say now today that I came from that because I made
Right.
it just made me very resilient, made me very grateful,
Mm-hmm.
made me very hungry. It made me very determined. It made me a lot of things, but the hood can do one or two things. It can either make you resilient and get out of it or get stuck under it.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, my brother, I turned 47. My brother is 51 and he's just now getting off drugs. So he used to sell, he was in the system, he was in
Mm-hmm.
gang banging system, gang banging, selling on drugs, and it just took his life down. Now he's clean, thank God. But I mean, it's just,
Yes, that's beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so easy, like you said, to get caught up in those cycles, especially when this is something that you're seeing on a day-to-day basis, and there looks like there's no way to get out or escape these things.
right.
So when you were going through that, did you ever get into this cycle of feeling like, why is this happening to me? What is this going on around me? Or was it just normal?
It was just normal. That's what I mean. That's, what I knew. It was all I knew. So what do you kind of just adapt. But I did have another side that I saw. My mother and father never married, but he was college educated. So I saw him every other weekend, but his life was very different. College educated. We didn't have to worry about what we spent and went out. Actually, we actually go to dinner, go out to eat, which is a big deal back then to me. Budgets weren't a thing. Like, he was the one that took me shopping for school. He dressed me like, that's one of the things he did. He took care of me that way and paid my mom child support. And I remember being the best dressed girl in the hood because my dad paid for all of that. And we would go shopping and he would just say, put what you want on the counter. And he would just sit down and wait until I finished shopping. And it was a different experience. So, and I was the best dressed girl for real in the hood, but I saw how he lived. And I remember how he didn't have a worry. Like, it was just carefree. It was easy. Like, life was much simpler when you don't have to worry about how you're gonna eat the next day. Like, I definitely had food insecurity because living with my mother, she did what she could, but most of the money that she got from my father was probably paying bills. So
Yeah.
so the food insecurity was real. Like going to school, and I remember, I used to hate this. We would, if we were good all week long, then on Friday we can have snack day. Like right in the morning, we can eat snacks before lunch while we're doing our work. Well, I didn't want to not eat with everyone, so I would eat part of my lunch and then have less lunch in essence. And I never ever snacks plus lunch, and it was me like, well, I'm going to eat my lunch and then not have, and then as a snack, and then I have lunch. It was it was stressful. It was just stressful.
Yeah.
Silly things, and just worry. So anyway, I remember thinking like, I don't want to live like this. Like, this is not what I want for my life. How can I shift it? And one thing I saw different was that education was a common denominator with my father and my father's family. And they lived very differently from the way my mom's family lived.
Absolutely. So at what point did you decide that you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
That was in corporate America. I was working for Intel and I experienced corporate racism for the first time, and it was real. And I was a young mother, everything was on my shoulders. And when this man who was hell bent on getting rid of me for no other reason than the color of my skin, which it was very evident, destroyed me because he was going to get rid of me in about 6 months. He put me on a corrective action plan, which was Intel's legal way of getting rid of someone in 6 months, paper trail with legalities. So I knew it was coming, and I was stressed out. And once I got through that, I thought, okay, I'll never let anyone own my destiny ever again. That was what pushed me to entrepreneurship. I didn't plan to be an entrepreneur. I actually thought I was going to retire from Intel. That was my thought. So
Wow.
that shifted.
I'm so glad that, you had that change of mindset. And so did you know that, well, obviously you didn't know that curls would be what would take you to the state of entrepreneurship. So when did you kind of know that that's what you wanted to do and that's how you will become an entrepreneur, is with that hair care product line?
How did I what?
How did you know that that is how you will become an entrepreneur through the hair care product line?
Well, I was just looking, as a newly natural mother, I was looking for options. And back then we launched in 2002. There weren't many options then. And I wanted products that would work, that would be natural, organic, wholesome, not heavy and greasy. I wanted weight for my curls, but I didn't want the greasiness. So we didn't have it, so we created it. That was I found that need. I said, oh, there are others like me looking for the natural hair. Let me see if this is a viable business. And it was. And did my due diligence, as I tell all my mentees, research your market first. And yeah, that's why I decided to do it. I'm like, okay, this is opportunity. And it actually was a great opportunity.
So you started off making the products yourself?
No. I've always had someone mix them. I initially was at home mixing oils under my, at home, my kitchen, like finding great essential oils with carrier oils and mixing products that I was working, like buying, like, for example, I used to buy Paul Mitchell foaming pomade, but I would mix that, or I used Effusion 23. That was my moisturizer. I would put some oil in that. And so I would just like mix things up to make them different. But I wasn't, I'm not a chemist, but I always had a cosmetic chemist.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And so I also noticed that you are an advocate to end domestic violence. Do you typically tell your story when you go to different like seminars or different conferences that are dealing with domestic abuse?
Well, I don't know where you saw that, but I actually support a local organization, Women Called Moses, against domestic,
Hmm.
and that's why I actually support her, because she's an amazing woman who is going in sometimes in the midst of the domestic violence happening, and she
Hmm.
in South Dallas, where women of color are overlooked. They're not really, people aren't there checking for them and making sure they're safe. She's doing that. And so she doesn't get a lot of funding. So I make sure I donate to her every quarter. And my mother was abused. I witnessed it every single time. And so that was why I'm so connected to her. And I like to help women that are dealing with what my mom went through, and the kids who are in the midst of it, unfortunately. So that's why I support.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. So then, do you feel like people who experience like dysfunctional relationships in their childhood or abusive relationships are more susceptible to entering those type of relationships as an adult?
Um, I mean, the stats say that.
Hmm.
They say that for sure. But I think I believe it. I don't see why it wouldn't be the case. And it's interesting. I was just thinking, like, all that I saw, I'm surprised that I didn't fall down that rabbit hole. I was just thinking that. But yeah, it looks like that's where I mean, it makes sense. Like, you repeat the cycles. It's a repetitive cycle. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, and it's interesting though that I did not. Thank God I did not.
Yes, I definitely agree. And I know that for me personally, with going through or seeing dysfunctional relationships growing up, because I went through some of those things, just with my family and things like that, it just becomes a norm,
Yeah.
like you said. And so then as you get older, you don't see an issue with any of those things at all unless you were exposed to something different. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, people who are exposed to something different, it feels odd to them because they're so used to dysfunction,
Right.
you know?
Right. I think
So
that in my family though. So yes, I think that's the case. Absolutely.
I definitely agree. So what is like three of your greatest accomplishments to this day?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, definitely, I would say I have to say, obviously, my family, my children, because they are just amazing
Mm,
kids. Um, and I think also, I feel like beyond curls, I mean, curls is one, I'm very proud of my business, but really giving back and helping, it's really a part of who I am. And I think that being in a position to be a blessing is a blessing. So I'm proud that I have the heart to give. I'm proud that I'm able to bless so many. So that's an accomplishment for me, because I really do believe in the karmic law. No matter if you believe in
mm,
God or not, when you reap, you sow. So where you plant your seed is how you what you actually harvest. So I'm really proud of that in my family. But I mean,
mm.
I have to say three then curls. I've done a lot of amazing things with the business and taken it from nothing to something. So that's something to be proud of. And I think entrepreneurs aren't. We're hard on ourselves. We're very hard on ourselves, like, naturally, because we're really all competitive. But I have to say, I
Mhm.
up and smell the roses and say, that I've done a good thing by changing my children's legacy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So who are some of your inspirations growing up and even still today?
Let's see. I have a lot. So in my family, on my dad's side, I had a lot of women who paved the way for me. Um,
Mhm.
these are women who've done phenomenal. So my mom was a great hustler and fighter and survivor. She survived a lot of stuff throughout,
Mhm.
and she shifted her. I think out of all her siblings, she definitely did the best. Like, none of her siblings, or none of them actually finished high school. They all got GEDs, but she wound up getting a professional job, became a examiner, and wound up, you know, climbing in the city of Sacramento ranks. So she did that on her own. But everyone else, a lot of them were on welfare, and my mom didn't do that. She worked, she had kids, but it was difficult, especially at the beginning, and especially throughout, all the way through probably middle school. It was very tough until she climbed a little bit and got more money. But so she's inspirational because she was a fighter. She never gave up. But on my dad's side, I
Mhm.
saw women who made history. Um, my Vivian Malone, if you Google her, she was the first African American woman to graduate from the University of Alabama, and
Wow.
they went integrated to school. And they started with 8, and I went down to, I think they wanted having ended up with 3 that graduated. and she was the first woman, so the other were men. Um,
Mhm.
and she went on to do a lot of amazing things, civil rights. Her pictures with her with Martin Luther King. Um, she um, she has a building after her name erected at the university. She's done a lot. Like if you Google her, you'll see she's done amazing things in the U.S., not just in her city, but in the United States. When she passed away, presidents were there, former presidents were there. I mean, a lot of, amazing people were, saying goodbye to her because she did so many amazing things, and she went down in history. There's a scene in Forrest Gump with her walking through her campus,
Really?
her in that movie Forrest Gump, because she makes her so proud of, having legacy, that bloodline, of women, powerful women in my family. Eric Holder, the former Attorney General of the U.S., that was appointed
Mhm.
by my cousin on my dad's side. So we have a lot of history makers, and I'm proud of that. Very proud. So they've inspired me when I was a little girl, not sure how my life would end, because I was, mostly with my mother, and I saw how my mother's family lived, and I only saw my dad's family at family reunions and funerals. So they were really ritzy and fancy, and very, very, very rich and prominent and educated. So it was a little bit, when I was young, intimidating. And so now I've shifted my situation. They all are like, wow, look at Marvin's daughter. Wow, she's done amazing.
Mhm.
I was kind of proud that they're proud of me. I'm proud that I've been able to make it almost an esteemed level of the rest of the family. So I'm very proud to say that I'm able to make them proud.
Mhm. So while you were having all these accomplishments, did you ever feel this, because you do have a history of, an amazing legacy. So did you ever feel pressure of, am I going to make it? Is this going to work? I have to be able to do this, because you felt like maybe you had them to carry?
I didn't do it for them. I did it. My muse was my first daughter. I had her at 20, and I knew that I can go down that same rabbit hole as all my rest of my family if I don't do
Mhm.
things. And so she was my determining factor. She was the person that made me drive hard and work hard. And she's 25 now. She works for Curl. She's gotten fired 3 times, but she's back. She's back. She's back. But she's my muse. She's my muse.
Hmm. So how much of a role would you say that faith and manifestation played in your journey?
Faith, very important piece of my journey, and manifestation. That manifesting your dreams. I believe in that wholeheartedly. Like vision boards, put it out there in the atmosphere, make your vision plain, speak it into existence, pray about it. When you see the visuals of what you want in your life, and you see that every day, you keep it up in your office, your mind becomes geared to seeing how you can make it work. And it's something that's subconscious that happens. And I really believe in that. Totally believe in that. So for those of you who don't, get your vision board out. Get your
Hmm.
vision board out. People are laughing, I guess, that I fired my daughter. That's real.
I hear you. I definitely feel that. So I've also talked to like a lot of different mentors and things like that. And it's so funny that, you talk about manifesting those things into existence, because I've heard before that, whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you want is in the spiritual realm already waiting for you, but you have to manifest and pray those things into the physical realm.
You have,
So
yep, I agree with that.
yes, absolutely. So for entrepreneurs who are starting their businesses, I am a young entrepreneur, and right now I only have like 2 members, including myself. And so I know a lot of Black businesses who like a one-man show at this point, and I know how important it is to have a team, but I'm not quite sure what characteristics or criteria to look for when looking for someone who you would want to be an associate for your organization. So, what type of criteria would you recommend that owners look for when they're looking for people to really promote and have a position in their business?
In their business. So it's really a baseline. They have whatever job that you're hiring for. Obviously, there has to be a baseline level of experience and professionals, and they bring to the table. Otherwise, you can't bring in a dishwasher to do a marketing manager position, right? So there has to be a baseline level of experience. But the most important thing is their attitude and their personality. You have to be amiable, coachable, someone that is flexible, that will go, because when you have a small business, if you're a person that's like, this is my little box, this is what I'm going to do, and that's it, that doesn't work. You need someone that's going to be, listen, they see the big picture and work as a team. That is what I always coach my daughter about. When because when she left Curls, this is again her third time, she went out into the world to work for a Coach and Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus. She had a few different jobs. And my biggest thing to her is like, be coachable. You cannot rise with an attitude that you know everything. And she was in sales, pretty young Black woman who was rising, came in and started taking their commission because she was getting all the customers. But being able to be coachable by your manager when you did something wrong, even if you don't agree, is important. So, and your attitude matters. Like the biggest thing I see when I'm on my team meetings are the people that are engaged, and we're talking ideas and brainstorming. People who don't have this don't last at Curls. If you're not like this, you won't last long. But it's the energy and bringing their all in our meetings. And that's why our meetings are so productive, because I have some amazing women on my team. Oh my gosh, so amazing. I start naming them all, but they all are just rock stars. And so that's what I'm trying to teach the people I mentor and my hard-headed daughter. Listen, be coachable. Be coachable.
Yes, I hear you. And like one thing is, I would talk to my mentors and they would tell me that nobody is going to run your business like you will. And so a lot of times having a small business, I would find myself having team members, but I wanted to control everything because I wanted it done like this. I want this done this way. So what advice would you give people or entrepreneurs who are having a hard time kind of delegating those responsibilities?
Well, on my show, Mind Your Business with Mahisha, had an episode with Gloria, the foot nanny. Oprah's, she's a manicurist and she does her feet. No, she has her feet. Her
Yes.
foot nanny. But she would try to get her hands into everything. I'm like, Gloria, you have to delegate. And she also, that guy someone called, she had people like her publicist labeling jars. So I think it's important that you delegate appropriately and not try to do it all, because you will, number one, kill yourself and go under really trying to do it all yourself. It's not sustainable, it's not feasible, and it's just not wise. So you have to, and I understand the control part, you want to do it yourself, but there's a piece that you can give to someone. And if you have to be a micromanager of sorts, which I don't agree with being a micromanager, I agree with managing from an umbrella perspective, where we give our direction, our vision, our mission, and give people things to do and allow them to execute. And once you see it, if there's something you need to change, elevate, switch out, then at that point, you guys discuss and let them take it back to the drawing board and redo it. That's how they get their muscles and how to get better and see align with you. But also you work your muscles of delegating that way as well. And if you're the final checkpoint to make sure it looks right, then maybe that's what you do. But you got to at least give people an opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that advice. That was so helpful just to hear you say that. So what advice would you give for entrepreneurs who are trying to juggle like family life and social life and then work and then their business?
Well, every day is a struggle. Every day, I have the same struggles. I have 4 children, 3 at our home. Of course, 3 are still at home, and the other one is out, my oldest. And it's really about every day is a new day, and you have to take the top 3 things and make sure those 3 things get done every day. So in your business, important that you make sure you prioritize what has to get done and get those things done, but find time for family. So like, for example, I have a hard time with the people asking for me to do podcasts at night. I'm trying to make sure that while I'm working so much during the day, I can't also work into the night. So I need to have time for my children. So it's really just setting your priorities. I try to set it family. My priorities are God first, family second, business third. I don't always get that right. Sometimes I'm out of whack, but I try to realign and get there.
Yes, I I can completely understand that because at one point, I was in school and then I had work and then I had my business and I was so overwhelmed with everything just because I was just starting off. So to hear somebody who has experience, years of experience going through that and learning how to prioritize those things is extremely helpful.
Yes.
So, what self-care tips can you offer to entrepreneurs?
Um, I say when you have a moment where you feel like you need to disconnect, that's the biggest thing you can do, especially now, and
Hmm.
recharge. So if that means getting off social and just relaxing for the day, playing hooky is important. Sometimes that and just really relax. Stay in bed,
Hmm.
relax. That's important. I mean, we handle so much. We take control of so many different things. I wear so many different hats that I will unplug my phone and take a day and say, guys, I'm off today, and not work.
Hmm.
Important.
Hmm.
That's really important.
Right. So when you interact, I know that you interact with people all the time. And so, people will try to say, well, people who do jobs where they are interacting all the time, it's not manual labor. So how is that tiring but it's an energy exchange.
It's a very
It's
much it's a lot of energy to do what we do. A lot of mental energy.
mhm,
So yeah, I think that's even more. It has more. It's more taxing. It can be more taxing in a different way because then you're
mhm,
tired and exhausted. It's definitely
mhm.
different. Yeah, both are new.
So oh, I'm sorry. So you say that, you have to actually take time out. How long does it typically take you to like really recharge yourself in order to get up and do all of this the next day?
I mean, I don't know if I have an answer for that. Like, I just every day is a new day, so I don't know. Whenever my body and my mind says I need to recharge is when I do it.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
my body. So I don't know if there's a number, but rather I listen to when okay, this is just I need a moment, and then I take my moment.
That is so important because I feel like so many times as Black women, we're just used to working and just constantly, like you said, having all these taxing responsibilities. So there's very few times where we do listen to ourselves like, look, you need to take a break.
Mhm.
And so that is definitely very important. So I heard in a previous interview that you were not interested in selling your curls business. You didn't even want to sell like a portion because you wanted to save it for your family. So obviously generational wealth is something that is very important to you. Why is it so important, and why should all Black entrepreneurs be working towards, prioritizing that?
Because that's how we sustain our families. I mean, the Black wealth disparity is so far behind Caucasians, and that's how they are able to rule the world is through their wealth power, their power of wealth. So we have to give our children, pass on more to our children than our debt. I mean, there's so many times every
Hmm.
passes in my family, we have to do a GoFundMe, a whole bunch of donations because no one has insurance. Something as simple as that. And so we need to pass our children with a legacy that will build their future and not rip it apart and take from it. Like every single time someone passes in my family on my mother's side, it becomes a burden.
Hmm.
That narrative, we have to change it. So let's own it. And the best way to do so is through entrepreneurship.
Hmm. So what are some of the first steps to gaining generational wealth that entrepreneurs can know of? Because I know that when we talk about, when we talk about generational wealth, people get so overwhelmed because obviously this is a long-term goal. And so what are some of the first steps that people can be taking in order to ensure this?
Well, I think one thing is, educating yourself about what you want to do, figure out how you want to make your wealth. Because obviously corporate America, people don't get, unless you're like a high level executive, you don't usually with stock, you usually don't get wealthy, right? From working for corporate America.
Mhm.
So you find a way to have a side hustle that may become your main hustle. Figure out and research what you want to do and educate yourself on what you want to do. Right now is a prime time. COVID has shifted our norm. So there are new industries.
Yes.
See what you can do in the new industries. The new things are coming up, different ways to make your impact known. And I feel like healthcare, medical, safety, all those areas are new. Everything in that space, that genre, there are going to be so many businesses popping up, and recessions have made more millionaires than any other time. Millionaires are born
Mhm.
post recession. So just think about that and figure out how you can, change your industry, your legacy from the bad of this. This is actually an opportunity to turn into something good for your family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I definitely hear you with that. And with you being so multi-talented, I know that the talent does not just stop with you. You have a beautiful family, and I know that, like you said, you have children. So are you constantly trying to find out what it is that their passions are so that they can monetize those gifts?
Well, listen, my daughter has got that on lock. These juices right here that she makes for me, she charges me, my 8-year-old, 9 now.
Nice.
So right when COVID happened, I used to get these every day from, the bottles are Buddha juice, but we had a bunch of them. So once COVID happened, obviously the stores shut down. She said, Mommy, you can't get any juices anymore, but I'll make them for you for $6 a bottle. You used to pay,
Nice.
I'll pay. I'm like, okay. And then right after, as we got in the thick of COVID, she's like, my prices have increased to $8 because you can't get them more. So I'm going to need to my price. The law of supply and demand. She got it. I mean,
Mhm.
so smart. So she gives me a monthly tab and she makes
Nice.
money. And one day she was like, I hadn't paid her. She slipped a note under my office desk door and said, if you do not pay me today, you will not get produce. I was like, okay, collection never
Mhm.
got our little inside collection services. So they get it, they see me. And I feel like it's about showing them an example. Yeah.
Yes, that is so funny. She's like a little businesswoman
Yeah.
already.
It,
That is so beautiful. So how important is it that you really or we instill that in our children? Because I know, when I was going to college, basically they're training you to be someone else's employee. You
right.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And so, until I came up with what it is I wanted to do, I didn't have the mindset to really, try to find my own business and monetize what it is that I want to do. But my mother, she was constantly like, Destiny, you need to find a hustle. But everybody was doing hair, everybody's doing nails, and I was like, I'm not really into those things. And so,
Hmm.
what advice would you give to youth who don't really know what their gift is?
Well, I say don't I didn't know I was gonna be an entrepreneur, right? I didn't know I was gonna go down this path. Don't be so caught up on watching what people are doing on Instagram and like, oh, someone's doing hair care, let me do hair care. Someone's doing skincare, let me do skincare. Whatever you see someone be successful at, don't try to ride that wave. Just find what's going to work for you and just flow with it. Don't, I mean, the pressure is always, let me find, but you have to flow into
Mhm.
what naturally comes. As you obviously have your mind open to receiving what you could actually explore, always be alert and thinking as you're seeing what your needs are that you can find a solution for. That's the best way, just to kind of fall through that, just kind of see what is happening in the world around you and what you think you can, how you can impact it by delivering something that's not available right now. And I think that's the best way. Don't try to get so tied up and bound up with the red tape of making sure you find something so quickly, but just let the flow with it. I think it's a natural progression that has to happen. It's natural.
Mhm.
I flowed into this naturally. It was a need that I didn't see met, and I created it. So that's how you go. People are just trying to make business money and thinking that they're going to rise, like turn on the switch and be a millionaire overnight. Now that happened with Super Cent with Crayon Case, but that's not the norm.
Mhm.
So don't
Yeah.
get caught up in that.
Yeah, I agree with you. With our new generation, I think, and especially with so much access to technology, people are seeing, other people become successes overnight. And a lot of times when those things do happen, I believe that, they rise to success really fast, but then it
Yeah,
is not always sustainable,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
And so I agree with taking your time so that you can have that longevity. And, I appreciate you for being so down to earth and so loving and, just really embracing other women. I know when I first started my business, I'm thinking that because I'm young and, I wanted to go in and find a whole lot of mentors off the bat. And I had a lot of women who embraced me, but then I would encounter some who didn't. And that was really shocking to me because I'm like, well, I'm just spreading love and I'm young and I'm thinking everybody's going to embrace me.
Nope.
what advice do you have for young women going in? Because I know we love to believe that, with us being Black women, everybody is going to take us in, all the other Black women, and embrace us. But you have those few who feel like there's not room
Mm.
for all of us to be at the top.
Yeah, that's the I mean, the point is that's the reality. I mean, so we can't, let's not get caught up in that. We know that's going to be the case. Not everyone's going to be happy for you. So try to just keep that out of your head and look for those and attach to those that are positive and want to help you. Not everyone will, but those who do, and associate yourself with those like-minded people of like spirits, okay? And then forget the negativity. And just remember, it's not you, it's them. They're that they're insecure. So if they keep, seem to work together, or, I mean, I had that in my industry, like where there were some, not all the brand owners, the Black owned beauty supply, not all the Black beauty owners of hair care products are this way, but there were a handful that were that way, and very evil, and not very, like, you say hi, wouldn't speak back. And so it was very interesting to see that, but again, that just speaks to their insecurity. That's it. So don't take your energy.
I got it. I got it. So you are, from what I can see, a woman who enjoys spreading love. So what words of wisdom can you give during this time of civil unrest in the country, and how can we continue to spread that love to one another?
Well, I would say this is the time to stand up. I think I know that, this wasn't the first time this happened, and probably won't even be the last time we lose a Black man to, unnecessary, violence and police brutality. But just to know that right now, people are seeing us, they're hearing us. So this is the time to strike while the iron is hot. So if you have any connections, whether it be bankers or any partners in the retail space, any buyers, people are willing to put that good PR face on. So ask. A closed mouth won't get fed. Go ask for that loan, ask for that line of credit. Go ask for that retail space. Go ask for an opportunity to this is a great opportunity to ask the questions that you probably wouldn't ask before, to ask for the business that you probably would have asked, been comfortable to ask before. They're listening and they're trying, and some of the businesses and big companies are willing to help us. I found some banks are really stepping up. I found some other businesses like Walmart is stepping up, so if you have an opportunity, go ask for it.
I got that. Absolutely. So, what are some up and coming projects that you have going on? Like, what should we stay updated with?
Okay, well, I would say, and I do have to end in a few minutes because I have all coming through, but I would have to say I have a few amazing projects, but I can't speak on them yet. So,
oh man,
because I may have a competitor on here. I can't say before.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Absolutely.
We have to wait. We'll have to do a follow-up.
Yes, absolutely. I understand moving in silence. I get it completely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you for allowing us to do this interview with you and just gracing us with your presence. To our viewers, if you would like to visit our website located in our bio, please do that and check out our Awaken Lounge membership packages. Like I said, again, thank you so much, Miss Mahisha. You have been so wonderful, and I wish you the best of luck on your future business ventures.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and we'll follow up when I'm ready to speak about those items.
Yes, please do. Please do. You have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.